time for part 2 of our over-under series. I am, as always, Alex. I'm Alex. Hi, how are you? I always get that screwed up. In the box next to me, Dusty, or Baba 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 Baba, he's loving it. And below me, making his grand debut, his re-entry, allow him to reintroduce himself, Alec Rout, back in the mix. So yeah, you heard it here. NFC over-unders today. We did AFC last week, so go check that out on our socials. Facebook, YouTube. If you want links, Instagram. I said Facebook already, but you can also get more stuff there. So make sure you subscribe, rate, and review also on Apple and Spotify. That's enough BS. We got a lot to get to, so let's get into it. First, with the defending NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles. Last year went 14-3. This offseason added the likes of DeAndre Swift, Nolan Smith. Their draft was, for the third year in a row, really solid. They added Rashad Penny, Keely Ringo, among others. This team's loaded. I'm going to keep this answer short. I got the over here. I went through it. I got 11, 12 wins, and then Lord knows they'll probably get one that they shouldn't. So for me, this one, not. Oh, yes, before I forget, Alec, you were not here last week. And if you were watching at home last week, that's okay. We also, as we go through this, will have 3 locks. So, for instance, I'm taking the Philly over if I felt super good about it and I want to lock that in. I get 3 of those. Not going to use a lock here, but feel pretty confident about Philly. So I got the over here. Any complaints from you two?
Not even a little bit.
Yeah. So it sounds like we're all in the over, just so I can mark that down. Okay, I see head nodding. All right.
I'm actually going to throw a lock on this one as well. I've never. It's hard to be ultra confident that a team will get 11 or more wins, but this Philly team is just they're a tough team. So I'll lock it in.
Well, and they went 14-3. Potentially, I saw a report today they could add Jonathan Taylor because why not? So 14-3, so they would have to lose 3 more games. Okay, well, even if they lost 3 more games this year, they still hit that over. So it wasn't quite a lock for me, but yeah, no, that's a sweep. That's over. No more questions, Your Honor. Let's move on to Stephen A. Smith's favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys. Last year, 12-5. 9.5 is their over-under this year. They lost Zeke Elliott. I don't know if that's helpful or hurtful. They added Deuce Vaughn. I just shout that out because that's my guy. Short king all the way. I went back and forth on this one. I'm going to go under slightly. I think it's going to be 9. That's what I count. So I went through the schedule before we started because I'm a tryhard. I got to 9 comfortably. You could talk me into the over, but I'm going to go under here. And I feel okay about it. I don't trust Dak for whatever reason. I feel like he's been on the decline for a while. But that defense will be solid.
Yeah, so for me, this one's actually kind of hilarious in my eyes because the odds makers put it at 9.5 because they knew that they were going to trick these Cowboy fans into going, no, we're going to go double digits. This will be, this is our year. We them boys. Nah, dude, you're going to win 8 to 9 games for sure. And that's why I think that it's the perfect trick because at 9.5, they felt disrespected. They're going to get all those bets on the over. And in reality, they're going to go 8 or 9 wins maybe. And I agree with you on Dak. I do think that this is actually going to be Dak's last year with the Cowboys. I think.
Really?
Yeah, dude. There's been whispers for a while. I think Dak's out of there. Honestly, hot take here. I think that they're going to make a move for Trey Lance mid-season. Niners just announced that Lance isn't going to be their number 2 quarterback. Brock Purdy's number 1, Sam Darnold at 2. So I think that Dallas will make a push for Trey Lance mid-season. Don't think he's really going to pan out there either, but that's going to start the controversy. They're going to end up getting somebody in the offseason, I think.
I like it. That's just a total hack take, and not like a bad hack like in baseball when you just take a total swing for the fence. I like that take because it's not. It wouldn't surprise me. They're just looking to dump him, so it'd be pretty cheap. I'm not a Trey Lance guy. I never. When we get to the Niners, trust me, I have stats on Trey Lance. Actually, one that I cannot wait for. But yeah, I'm with you. The tough thing for me, Dustin, is that they were 12-5 last year, so they'd have to lose 3 more games to hit the under. which is possible because the teams we're going to talk about next in this division are pretty tough. But what say you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go under. I wasn't a big fan of the Cowboys last year. I thought, they obviously they had a good season, but they didn't really get a whole lot as far, and they're just like a lot of their defensive players are just kind of getting older. Just in general, they're getting older. A lot of players aren't happy. Zach Martin's unhappy. I mean, hell, everyone's unhappy in that team right now. It seems like so. Under.
All right. That's a clean sweep. So through two teams in the toughest division in football, it's a clean sweep. This one might get a little different, though, for us. The New York Football Giants, or as Chris Berman says, the G-Men. Last year, 9-7-1. They tied with Washington. This year, over under 8.5. I kind of like them. I took the over here. It's not a lock for sure. When I did the math and I guessed, I have them at 9, so barely over. I think Daniel Jones is better. I love Jalen Hyatt. That is such a my guy. I think he could have an impact right away. Defensively, I have just some questions, but I like. Sorry, guys, I dropped something under my desk. But I do like Coach Dayball. So basically they just have to repeat what they did last year, win 9 games. I think this team's a little bit better, and like I said, the Cowboys I think are going to be a little bit worse, so that might get an extra game for them there. So I got the over here. Not a lock, but it was in consideration.
I'm going to go over as well. I honestly could see him winning 10 games. It's definitely not a lock because they don't have supreme talent, right?
Right.
Daniel Jones, he's good, but he's nothing out of this world. Saquon's really their only supremely talented player on their roster. But yeah, I'd give them 10 wins. They play hard. I mean, they play hard football. So yeah, I'll go 10. What do you think, Dusty?
I'm gonna go under, if I'm being honest.
All right.
I didn't love, like, obviously, yes, they won a playoff game last year, but I didn't really love it, honestly. I didn't love it. But anyways, I'm losing train of thought pretty quick here today. But I just don't like their defense. I think their defense is gonna really let them down this year. And Saquon, I see him getting hurt again. Seems like he's hurt every other year. I don't think he's gonna stay healthy, and he's a huge part of their offense. Without him, they don't really have anything, to be honest.
Yeah, for me, it came down to can they do what they did last year? And the tie, I mean, they could have won 10 games last year. And I do worry about the new coach shine. There is like this, we got a new coach, so all of a sudden they take off, and it seems like they're going to, go to the moon, and then year 2 not as good. So I do worry about that, but I think 9 is attainable. I know Sean was in the chat saying that they're garbage. Here's the hard part about the NFC East, because the rest of the NFC seems pretty cut and dry, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I don't know. You could tell me this team wins 6 games. You could tell me they win 11, and neither one is going to shock me. All right, let's move on to the recently sold Washington Commanders, the Commies, if you're nasty. 7.5 is the over-under this year. Last year, 8-1. The one tie was against the Giants, as previously mentioned. I do like the vibes here. I do think this is another team with a wide range of outcomes. When I was doing the exercise of looking through their schedule, I had as low as 5. And then if I gave them a couple that I was on the fence about, I could see 8. So either way, if I was betting money on this, I'm taking the under, because even if they get to 8 and match what they did last year, that's barely hitting. I think there's a better chance of them hitting the under than the over. So I'm going to lean under here. But again, you could tell me that they win 8-9 games improved, but I don't trust their quarterback. Even though the vibes are better, their weapons are talented. They have weapons all over the place, but especially offensively, defensively, again, that's a bit of a concern. So, yeah, I'm going to go under here.
I'm going to go under as well. And honestly, I think that it's going to be a planned demolition, right? This is a brand new owner. He wants to bring in a brand new slate of talent. I think that he's going to try. I don't necessarily think that they're going to be tanking, but I don't think that they're going to be necessarily motivated to win. I think that they're going to want to rebuild with this new owner. And I'm going under. I could legitimately see him being like a 3-win team trying to get that number 1 draft pick.
I think it kind of depends on how their schedule starts. But I'm gonna look up their schedule here. Dustin, give us your over under, and then we'll go over their first couple of games.
Yeah, I'm gonna go under. I think just their quarterback situation is such a question mark, especially like last year. You kind of see their whole offense. Like, I like what Sean said with the receivers and the backs. Like, I do like their weapons that they have, but just the quarterback situation. Like, yeah, we can say Sam Howell's good, but we don't really know until he plays a full season. Like, I'm sure he'll have a game or two that he flashes, but I don't think this will be the year if he really puts it together. So I don't think he can get 8 wins in this kind of conditions.
And I mean, Trevor Lawrence is great, but I mean, his first year, what'd they win? 1 game, 2 games?
That was an Urban Meyer problem. I don't know if that was a Trevor Lawrence problem, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah. So I'm looking at their schedule here. So they start with Arizona. So they should be 1-0. Arizona at home. Arizona's going to be terrible. We're going to talk about them in a little bit. At Denver, okay, let's say 1-1 because at Denver's a tough place to play, even though I don't really believe in Denver either. Against the Bills, all right, now let's say we're 1-2. At Philly, 1-3. At home against the Bears, that could go either way. And then at the Falcons. So that's how they start. That's basically their September and first couple games in October. So they might only have 2 wins max by the time we get to week, 6, 7, 5, somewhere in there. So they just have a tough schedule to start. And I'm looking through the rest of it, and it doesn't really lighten up. They have to play the AFC East this year, so they have the Dolphins, the Patriots, the Bills, the Jets. All those games are going to be tough. So I'm going to say under, and I'm a little more confident after looking at it again. But, yeah, no locks there, but we're all in the under there. So, all right. So, really, we agreed on all of them, except our only disagreement looks like the Giants. Dustin had the under, Alec and I were over. So, now let's take a trip south. Let's talk about the former fighting Tom Brady, shall we? Tampa Bay, last year, 8-9 was their record. This year, 6.5 wins is their over-under. I got the under, and I'm actually going to lock this one in. I like Mike Evans. I like Chris Godwin. Their starting tight end is Cade Otton. That's a downgrade. Although I don't even remember who they – well, it's not Gronkowski who was in and out. Running back-wise, they lost Fournette. It's, I believe – Rashad White, who I know people really seem to love. I'm not a giant believer in that. Their defense might be okay enough to keep them in some games. They would have to, with Baker Mayfield at the helm or Kyle Trask. I know they declared Mayfield the starter as of today or yesterday, whenever that was. They have to win 7 games. It's possible because their division stinks. This might be the worst, if not second worst division in football. But I got the under. I'll lock it in. I don't see them winning 7 games this year.
I'm going over, man. I think
Really?
I think that Baker's going to shine in his mediocrity. He's going to have the most mediocre shine that you could ever expect, which is what you should expect from Baker. And mediocre in the NFL with a good defense and good weapons, I think that'll get you 8 or 9 wins. So I could see him winning 7, 8, 9 games.
I'm a Baker guy, so I hope I'm wrong. I really want to be wrong on this.
Yeah, I think you will be.
Clearly, we disagree.
There appears to be a disagreement between you two.
It appears we've reached an impasse.
Yes, this is a tough one. I think I might have to go with Alec here. I might have to go with the over.
Really?
I think it's maybe like 7. Like, I think they barely hit the over, but I agree with Alec. Mediocre is going to get you like 7 wins, especially with a good defense. And like you said, you got Mike Evans, Godwin, Rashad White, and a pretty young, good offensive line too. So that's a 7-win season, 7-8 win season right there to me. So
just because I forgot to do this in the beginning, so I'm on Pro Football Focus. That's where a lot of this information of the free agency additions is coming from. I just want to credit my sources. So they brought back Jamel Dean. They brought back Levante David. They brought in Chase Edmonds. Okay. They did lose Julio, which at this point, I love Julio Jones. Yeah. I've been a Julio guy, but at this point, he's on the back 9. He might be actually teeing off on hole 18, if we're being honest. They lost Sean Murphy-Bunting. Okay, Akeem Hicks. That's a decent size loss for them. Carl Nassib. Okay, he's fine. So according to Pro Football Focus, they had an A- offseason grade. I don't know about that, but that's funny. You two went over and I locked this in at an under. So I hope I'm wrong. I really want Baker to succeed. I think when he's at maximum, I'll say prickliness to be nice. When he's no, let's call it what it is. When he's kind of playing like a douchebag, he's so fun. When he was planting the flag in the Ohio State field, like that's the stuff I want to see from Baker Mayfield. So I hope it works out for him. I really do. But that's probably a little too much time on Tampa Bay. Let's go to Carolina. Carolina Panthers last year went 7-10. Looking up their free agent acquisitions here. They brought in, Bryce Young, the number 1 overall pick. They also brought in Von Bell, DJ Chark, Adam Thielen, Miles Sanders, Hayden Hurst, Andy Dalton. Although the Andy Dalton thing is just a funny name at this point. I don't think that matters. It's Bryce Young's team. And they really only lost Deontay Foreman, was their biggest loss. So it's improved. This one I really went back and forth on. And you know what? F it. I'm going for it. Carolina, give me the over. 8 wins for Carolina. I like Bryce Young. I think this team will be improved. I don't know about how much. 8 wins, now that I'm looking at it, seems like a lot. But also, if I have Tampa on the under, they're going to be, in my opinion, not great. Atlanta, we're going to talk about them. I don't think they're going to be all that great. So really, their only competition is New Orleans, just in division. So, and they play the NFC North. And we don't know what the Bears are going to be. We don't really know what the Packers are going to be. Minnesota seems to be on a bit of a downturn, and Detroit's on the way up. Well, there's 3 games they could possibly win. So I'm going to go over. I'm not confident at all. But Bryce Young, let's go.
I'm going under. I don't believe in Brycey boy. The rest of the team isn't bad. I honestly feel like they'd have a good shot at putting Dalton in the beginning part of the season, letting Bryce kind of set his feet in. I don't see him being very good. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I'm going to go under.
Are you talking Bryce Young long term? You don't see him being good, or just for this year?
I don't know. I think his ceiling's about Justin Fields, and I mean that's up for debate still. Yeah, no, I'm going under. I don't believe in him. I don't believe in the team.
Yeah, and that's fair. I do like their defense. They got some dudes on defense that I really like. Offensively, they added weapons. But Dustin, enough of my rambling and defending my take. What do you think about the kiddies from South Carolina or North Carolina, wherever?
I think I'm on the same page as Alec here. I don't think their offense is kind of where it needs to be to score enough points to win these close games. But they do have a good defense. Like it's fairly good with Burns on there. I like Burns a lot. I think he's one of the best young players in the league right now. But it's just I don't know if their offense can get it done late in the game with obviously Adam Thielen as your number 1 potentially. Like, what are we doing here?
True, and they did bring in DJ Chark, and they did get rid of DJ Moore, so that hurts. So, yeah, I get it, but F it. Let's go over. Plus, otherwise, we're agreeing too much. Someone's got to disagree here. But I think we're all going to kind of agree on this next one. The New Orleans Saints, last year, 7-10 under a carousel of quarterbacks. Dennis Allen in his first year with New Orleans. 9.5 is the number. I have over here. I think the rest of that division is not great. I think Derek Carr is an upgrade from what they had last year. The Kamara stuff, okay, fine. Like, he's gone for 3 games. It was a slap on the wrist. I don't think it hurts them very much. And plus, he wasn't that efficient last year anyway. Michael Thomas is back for now, I guess.
Who?
Michael Thomas?
Who?
Michael Thomas?
What? That guy hasn't played in like 4 years.
I know. We got to mention him. We are obligated to mention him anytime we talk about the Saints. They brought in Jamal Williams. Did they bring in Jarvis Landry? I don't think they did. This, according to Pro Football Focus, they brought in Jarvis Landry, but I don't think that is the current case. And they didn't really lose much. They lost Marcus Davenport to Minnesota. Okay. Packer legend Marcus Davenport, because that was that weird trade that I think led them to Alexander. Regardless, I'm going to stop rambling. I got the over here. I think New Orleans is the best team in the division. 10 wins. Cool. Book it.
What, Dusty?
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure they just picked up Kareem Hunt and Anthony Barr as well. Do they not?
Anthony Barr, I believe. Actually, that's a good question. So while you are talking, I will look that up because I think Kareem Hunt is still a free agent because he had that weird thing with the Colts. But I will look that up as you're talking.
Okay. Anyways, I'm going to go under. I don't know. I mean, we've seen Derek Carr at the Raiders. Pretty mediocre. I think they get 9 wins. Again, I think this is close. You could convince me into over. I get it. They have Chris Olave and a suspended Alvin Kamara, which take it whatever you want, but I don't think their defense is going to be as good as they were last year and the previous couple of years. I think they're going to regress, and I think it's just kind of a mediocre season. I think that it's just kind of a downswing for New Orleans.
I'm going to go over on this one. I think that Derek Carr is actually going to come back scorched earth. I think he's going to play some good football this year. Dusty, you mentioned that he was mediocre with the Raiders, and yeah, he wasn't a top quarterback in the league, but I did think that he was a little bit better than average, and I think that he was in a terrible situation. I mean, a lot of those years were wasted with Gruden, and before Gruden, it was an even bigger mess. They were one of the worst teams in the league. I feel like Derek Carr is going to come back and have a really great year this year. So I could see him winning 10, 11, probably not 12, but I could see him winning up to 11 games.
I'm with you guys. And how much of the Derek Carr thing is on what's his face, Josh McDaniels? That just didn't seem like a happy situation. And honestly, the Raiders could have been worse last year, but they literally brought in help for Derek Carr, and the offense I don't think was necessarily the problem. Let's be honest, I don't care that much about the Raiders, so I didn't deep dive this at all. But he's better than what the Saints had, and the Saints won 7 games, and that's in a division with Tom Brady. They won 7 games with a carousel of quarterbacks and essentially no weapons. So I think for them to hit 10, I don't think that's crazy. For them to go 10-7, I think that's totally attainable. Update on Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt is still a free agent. Anthony Barr, I still have not seen I'm still looking. I still haven't seen anything on Anthony Barr. I see maybe rumors about the Giants from a day or two ago, so I'm assuming he's still unsigned as well. So
I apologize. I saw a fake rumor then.
No, I know what you're talking about. It was a Schefter report, and it said, "Oh, yep, they're signing Barr and Hunt." And then, like 3 days later, Kareem Hunt went to visit the Colts, and that was kind of that. And then I think he was visiting Minnesota, and that was kind of that. So he's still free agent. Anthony Barr, I thought signed with the Saints too, but I'm not seeing anything to confirm that. So I will lean to free agent on Anthony Barr.
Could have been butt crack sports, you know.
Oh, I've been butt cracked so many times. You have no idea.
Yeah.
Can I just say that Schefter sucks? I hate Schefter. He sucks.
That's a hot take. I don't hate Adam Schefter. Although, I mean, his credibility and brand have taken a hit over the last year, but we don't read.
That's what I mean. His credibility is pretty low at this point to me. I've seen a lot of BS out of him.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you either. So, and it's all I'm sure the receipts are still out there, so I can't disagree with you. I think he's a good dude, but we're getting off track here. Let's stick with the last team in the NFC South, the Atlanta Falcons. Last year, 7-10. This year, their number is 7.5. So, can they win one more game? You know what? You guys go first because I'm still undecided here. I'm leaning one way, but I want to hear some arguments first. So, one of you two can start this one.
No.
Under?
They don't have talent, man. Yeah, it's under. They don't have the talent, in my opinion. I'm not impressed by it. What is Kyle Pitts finally going to break out this year? No. I mean, Dusty, you're taking him in the fantasy league. Is that what I'm hearing from you? He's not going to have a year this year. Their defense, I mean, it's nothing. It's what, a top 25 defense? I'm going under. They're not good. They're going to be the laughing stock of the NFC.
Before you officially make your pick as under, can I interest you in they signed Tyler Heineke? That's your guy, the Green Lizard. That's your guy. You argued on behalf of him so hard last year. They now have him.
Yeah, Taylor Heineke was a commie all the way, and I'm team commie, dude.
Then in that case, I can't convince you.
No.
But to go over some of the people they did add edge rusher Bud Dupree, Taylor Heineke is mentioned, wide receiver Mac Hollins, Jesse Bates, the safety, was their big ticket item this year. Calais Campbell, who's kind of on the back nine, but again, these aren't scrubs they're throwing in there. Eddie Goldman, Mike Hughes, like these are people the average football fan most likely knows, and they really only lost the wide receiver. I'm not even going to try and say his first name, Zacchaeus. Rashawn Evans, the linebacker, who still isn't signed. They didn't lose a whole lot, and they did bring in a wave of talent here. That said, I think for me, because I took Carolina over, I have to go just by the math, Atlanta under. And I don't know. My thing here, too, is I don't know if Desmond Ritter's any good. That's my big hope. They can run the crap out of the ball. Their running numbers were amazing last year with Tyler Algier. Well, now you bring in Bijan Robinson, your first-round pick, who's an absolute freak of nature athletically. But I'm going to go under here. I think 7 and 10 is probably the right range for them to do that again. And if Ritter's better, then they'll be over. But I can't get there as of this moment.
Are you guys ready for this?
Oh, boy. Hold on. Do I need to strap in?
Strap it in, boys.
Strap it on. Here we go.
All right, ready for this? Not only am I going to say over, it's going to be a lock for me.
Whoa!
It's a lock.
Whoa!
Listen, they got Pitts, London, and they got Robinson, Algier, Patterson. Whether you say he's old or not, dude can still ball for his age. He can still ball. I'm telling you, Patterson's going to play running back, receiver, kick returner. He's going to do everything for him still, and he's still going to be productive. You know why? Because they're going to take away a ton of his snaps, so he's going to stay healthy the whole year. And I think Ritter's just going to get the job done. They don't need him to throw 65-yard passes on the dot. They're going to need him just to make simple passes and play the offense. They're a system team. And with the big three at the running back, Algier, Robinson, and Cordell Patterson, that's the three you need right there. Those are the big three that are going to make this team. And their defense, much improved. Much improved. Jesse Bates, and they got, whether you like Jeff Okudah or not, I thought he was really kind of starting to turn the corner a little bit in Detroit.
Oh, he's not even listed on here, but yeah.
They got Jeff Okudah. I thought he was turning the corner a little bit. He's not, don't get me wrong, he's not going to lock everyone up, but I think he's a solid, slot guy for him. He's going to get the job done. He's quick enough to do it. I think their secondary got a lot better, and their team just got a lot better in general. Especially in this pretty crappy division, if we're going to be honest here. I think they could easily win this division.
Well, Alec and I are on the under. You're on the over. You know what that means. Lone Wolf, baby. I can't see them winning 8 games. Oh, it's going to keep playing. Hold on a minute.
Put that on repeat, would you?
Just want me to keep having the howling sounds in the background? I forgot that I have to turn that off every time we do it. And you locked it up. I forgot. We haven't been playing our sounds. You locked it up. Locked it up! Which, of course, we play that sound anytime someone locks it up. Now we're rolling. Now we're cooking with gas. It only took us 2 divisions, but we're there. Let's go. All right. So we're halfway through. Let's take a minute to remind the good people. Apple, Spotify, rate, subscribe, review. It helps us, especially if you review. Get those review numbers up. That's super appreciated on our behalf. All right. So our locks as of now. I locked up Tampa to go under. Alec has locked up Philly to go over, and Dustin has locked up Atlanta to go over. So that's where we currently sit. We are halfway through. Each of you have 2 left. And let me tell you, this next one is the lock of the century. It's the lock of all locks. I might actually go put real money on this. I feel so confident. Arizona, under. Need I say why? Last year, this team only won 4 games. They were 4-13. You're telling me they have to win 2 more games? They got worse. They lost DeAndre Hopkins. Kyler Murray's out for at least a month because he's coming back from a torn ACL. And we've seen quarterbacks come from a torn ACL, right back. It's a 2-year injury. It takes them a while. We just thought, Deshaun Watson was other reasons, not football related. Problematic. But I have a joke on that, but I'll save that for next week when I do off-season observations. Anyway, I do think that this is an under. I don't think it's relatively close. You're telling me this team almost has to double their win total? There's no shot. This team is way worse. Yeah, no. Lock it up for me. No question.
Yeah, I'm right on board with you, Alex. We don't gotta waste time on this. I'm going under as well. I'm not gonna lock it, but I am gonna go under.
No.
You know what? I'm gonna go under. I'm not
I
even
was
gonna.
gonna say,
I'm
don't
not gonna do
dare.
that one.
I'm gonna be so upset.
No, they're hot garbage this year. They're not gonna be good.
Flaming doo-doo fire is how I
Yep.
think someone would describe them.
Exactly.
Yeah, so clean sweep. We're on the under. I locked that one in. Moving on to the best team in the division, in my opinion. San Francisco 49ers last year went 13-4. And midseason last year, they also brought in Christian McCaffrey. That helped them immensely. Brock Purdy coming off of not quite Tommy John, but also he's throwing already, I don't really know exactly what surgery he had, but it was essentially Tommy John. He's already throwing. They also brought in Javon Hargrave from the Eagles. Deshaun Gibson they brought back. Sam Darnold is now their number 2. And actually, before I forget, because we're here, I saw this wonderful stat, and I wish I did screenshot it, but I don't have who posted it. It's from the account Pick 6. So Trey Lance, we touched on this a little bit already. They're quote unquote exploring options, whatever that means. If it's trade, cut, whatever. You want to hear the players that were drafted after Trey Lance? This one's a good one. So Trey Lance was drafted 3rd. After him, 4th, Kyle Pitts. 5th, Jamar Chase. 6th, Jalen Waddle. 7th, Penei Sewell. 8th, J.C. Horn. 9th, Patrick Surtain II. 10th, Devontae Smith. 11th, Justin Fields. 12th, Micah Parsons. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of those players are Pro Bowlers. And let's not forget, the Niners traded a crap ton to get up to the number 3 spot to take Trey Lance. Just a fun fact. That all being said, give me the over here. I think this team is good. I do think it'll probably be a barely sort of situation. But I do think they're going to get 2 wins right off the bat with Arizona. They'll probably split with Seattle, I would imagine. So there's already 3. And then I don't really like the Rams this year. So that's 5. So they basically have to win 6 more games. To me, if Purdy's anything what he was last season coming in, now with a full season under his belt to be the guy, I like the over here. Not a lock, but I like the over.
I'm going to go over, and this is the lockdown corner. I'm going to lock it up, dude. I think that the Niners might be the best team in football this year. They are absolutely stacked. I mean, offensive weapons up the wazoo. Greg Kittle's probably the best tight end in the league, maybe Travis Kelce, but Greg Kittle's right there in that conversation. Christian McCaffrey, absolute weapon all over the place. I mean, Ayuk, their defense is unbelievable. I got to go over, and I'm going to lock it up. I could see them winning 14.
Sean does point out that Nick Bosa is holding out. That is true.
He'll be back.
I believe they'll get something done. But also, that defense is so GD talented. Even without him, I think they'll be fine. They'll still be better than most teams that they're going to play. So,
yeah, I'm right with you here, Alec. I'm over and I'm locking it into this. I don't see how they don't win at least 12 games. I just don't see it.
Lock it up.
All right.
Because they got. I mean, like you said, they got 2 with Arizona. They're not losing the game there. Yeah, I can see them splitting Seattle, and the Rams are probably going to take both those games. I don't think the Rams are any good anymore.
Are they going to split with Seattle, though? Did Geno Smith just catch lightning in a bottle, or is he legit? Do we know?
That's a good question.
That's a fair question. Oh, go ahead.
I have nothing to say. That's a good question because I have no idea. I couldn't really tell you.
They did just pay him, so, I mean, at least you'll be happy. Let's talk about them. I had them next on my list anyway. So, just to recap, we're all on the San Francisco over, and Dustin and Alec locked that in as well. So, all right, that's San Francisco. We all get the over. Those said Seattle Seahawks, their over-under is at 8.5. Last year, they won 9 games. They were 9-8. So basically, they just have to do what they did last year. And again, if they're splitting with San Francisco, if we all assume they're splitting, and then they sweep the Rams and Cardinals, which they might split with the Rams too, but that already gets them to 5. So they just have to win 4 more games. They can do that for sure. If they split with the Rams, okay, now they're going to win 5 more games, and they could probably do that too. So I'm going to go over here on Seattle. I just think they're too talented, especially offensively. Defensively, I have some questions, but Kobe Bryant has been balling out. They brought back Bobby Wagner. They brought in Jerron Reed, Packer legend. Devin Bush was never what he was supposed to be coming out of Michigan, but solid enough. And they didn't really lose anybody. So I like the Seattle over here. I think they can match what they did last year.
Yep, I hate to keep agreeing with it, but yeah, I'm gonna go over. I think they could get 9. I mean, like you said, whether I think Geno is gonna have the same season he had last year or not, I still think they can win 9 games with their talent alone, and they're super young, honestly.
Yeah, and all I got to just match what you did last year, and you hit the numbers. So,
Boys, can you hear me?
we got you now.
Yeah, I am. And this is very unfortunate because I was the man who called Gino coming back. You guys remember that? Just like I had a love fest for Taylor Heineke, and I dropped him at the door. I'm also picking her, but I don't.
You're cutting out a lot, Al.
I was gonna say I didn't know if that was just a me thing because my internet's been shaky lately.
Oh. In the middle of that.
Are you with us? Oh, Andy's gone. Were you getting the under from that?
I kind of got that part.
Yeah,
I was guessing.
I'm just gonna pencil him in for an under because the way he was sermonizing Geno Smith, I'm gonna just take a shot in the dark and say it was a 1-year wonder.
I think that'd be okay.
Yeah. Well, while Alec fixes all of that, yeah, he's got dial up for sure.
Hey, I remember those days, the old beeping while you watch something load.
Yeah, I don't miss those days, although my internet's been pretty shoddy. I'm actually surprised it's held up this long. All right, so we're going to pencil Alec in for the under. He may or may not come back, I guess. All right, so while he fixes all of that, Dustin, let's talk about the LA Rams, shall we? I think we both already kind of touched on this. Last year, 5-12. They're hoping to get Cooper Kupp healthy by week 1. Matt Stafford, they're hoping, is healthy and ready to go this year, which who the hell knows. Aaron Donald was threatening retirement. Oh, I see him back. Hello?
Boys, I'm sorry. Hey, can you hear me?
We can hear you. We just can't see you.
Yeah, my internet is down. So I'm calling back in. So sorry about that, but yeah, so under on the Seahawks. Where are we at now?
We just started talking about the Rams. I was just giving the introduction to the Rams. We kind of figured you took the Seattle under because you were sermonizing Geno. So we just kind of assumed, but we didn't know if you were locking that in.
I'm not locking it in. No, I'm not that confident in it, but I do not think that he'll be able to replicate what he did last year.
Fair enough. I think we all kind of have questions on that. So yeah, so let's move on to the Rams. So we were just talking about them. Aaron Donald threatening to retire. You want to hear something crazy? Here's their free agent signing, according to Pro Football Focus. Center Coleman Shelton. That's it. That's the list. So they didn't add anybody. They lost, let's see, Baker Mayfield, backup. Okay. Ashawn Robinson. Okay. Safety Taylor Rapp. That might hurt him a little bit more. Greg Gaines. And then some offensive linemen that I guarantee you at home have never heard of. I got the under here. And you know what? So they would have to win 8 games for this to cash, right? To hit the over. I'm going to lock this one in, boys. I'm going to use my last lock here on the Rams under. I do not like this Rams team at all. There's bad vibes. their coach is talking about retiring and doing something else. Aaron Donald's talking about retiring. It's never a good sign. Matthew Stafford, is he going to stay healthy a full season? Even in their Super Bowl season, he wasn't fully healthy for a full season. It's Cooper Kupp, Cam Akers, you're hoping bounces back. Tyler Higbee, they lost Odell Beckham, or they have lost Odell Beckham, but he was super important for them, but he didn't play from last year either. Who are you leaning on? Ben Skoranek? Like, no, under, lock it in for me. That's my last of the locks. And I feel pretty confident that they're not winning 8 games this year.
We're on the same page here, Alex. I'm going under. I'm not locking it in. Only reason I'm not locking it in is because I have question marks around Seattle. I have, not even a question mark with Arizona. I know that they're gonna be terrible, but so I think that there's a possibility they could go over just because Sean McVay has made magic happen before. Matthew Stafford might have one more good season left in him. But I lean under on them, so I'll go under as well.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add besides the under, and I mean it's just as close to a lock as it could get, but I'm not gonna because I'm gonna save it.
Oh, so you have your eye. You have both have one more lock, and I have a feeling. I think I know where Alex is going to lock his in, but can you guys still see me? I'm sending the Zoom link to a very special guest who's going to come and talk to us about one of the NFC North teams. But I'm just sending him that now. But he will join us in a minute. All right, last division. Let's start with the reigning division champs in the NFC North. The Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota last year went 13-3. I would argue pretty luckily. This year their over-under is at 5.5 wins, so Vegas already sees them at least losing 4 more games, if not more. I have the under here. I think they just lost too much. And I can go through the list here in a minute once I look it up. But they lost a lot of dudes. Zadarius Smith was one I know off the top of my head. Let's look up there. I'm running a little behind. Dalvin Cook. They
Thielen.
Patrick Peterson. I mean the corpse of Patrick Peterson, but still. Eric Kendricks, Irv Smith Jr., Dalvin Tomlinson. Like those are all real dudes. They did bring in Dean Lowry for whatever that's worth. Byron Murphy Jr. Cool. Marcus Davenport. I feel like they lost a lot more than they added. So for that reason, I have the Minnesota under.
Yeah, I'm gonna go under as well. It's hard after watching that quarterbacks documentary on Netflix. You see Kirk Cousins in the limelight, and he's actually a really likable dude. I come to find out. I'm gonna go under though, just for the same reasons you stated. They lost so much talent. Last year was really their biggest shot at being able to make a push for a championship that I've seen in a long time. But yeah, no, they lost too much. It's an under for me.
Ooh, this is actually a tough one to me. I don't. As you guys said, they lost a lot, but really their offense is still good.
Their offense is good. Their running game is going to be worse because Alexander Madison is not super efficient. So they have to get to 9. And I'm guessing there's going to be some regression because they were super lucky. So it depends on how much you believe that offense is going to carry that defense. The defense might not be terrible, but definitely worse than it was last year.
I'm going to say over, but it's literally 9 games to me. Like I don't think they just slip over. To me, it's 9 games, maybe 10 if they're lucky. They're not getting 12 again. Yeah. That's like I said, simply because their offense. They have Justin Jefferson, T.J. Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, and obviously, like you said, Matt. I forget Matt. Is it Madison?
Alexander Madison, yeah.
Yeah, Madison. I think he's good enough to get the job done. Obviously, they let go of Cook for whatever reason. I don't know if it's contract or he just wanted to get out. Whatever the case may be, but I think their offense could carry their defense a good amount this year.
All right. Our special guest is waiting, but we have one more team before we get to him. We are going to quickly talk about maybe the most hyped team in this division, the Detroit Lions. Weirdly, their number is a flat 9. Last year went 9-8. And let's be real. Jared Goff had a good year and carried them for the back half of the season. It's a weaker division. They did add, who's not playing, but Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, David Montgomery, Marvin Jones Jr. is back from Jacksonville. Alex Anzalone was re-signed. They did lose DJ Chark, Jamal Williams, but how big are those going to be when you add Jahmyr Gibbs? David Montgomery is now their backfield. That's a solid backfield. I'm going to go over, but I think it's I think it's going to be like a 10, and I think that's just because this was one of the tougher ones. I'm going to go over, and to be honest with you, I don't really have an explanation why. And that's just my quick Detroit.
Yeah, no, I feel that. You know what? I'm gonna do the unthinkable, and I'm gonna go even. They're gonna hit 9 even.
I don't think
I
that's
can
an
see them
option,
pulling
but the number is 9, so
Yeah. What? I can't pick 9. No, they're gonna win 9 games this year, folks, and it's gonna be in true Jeff Fisher fashion. Those 9-7 teams that Jeff Fisher coached every single year. Yeah, it's gonna be 9-8 this year for Motor City Dan Campbell, and it's gonna be a glorious, glorious 9-8 season. But in reality, I love that they brought in David Montgomery. But I feel like the football gods are going to punish them for letting Jamal Williams walk after he had the year that he had with all those touchdowns, breaking Barry Sanders' record. I don't see him winning more than 9. I don't see him losing, or I don't see them going under 9 wins. They're going to win 9 exact.
all right. That's a lockdown corner first, but I dig it. Dustin, your quick analysis on the Lions.
I'm gonna again. This is kind of the same thing as the Vikings. It's just really close. I'm gonna go under though. Like I said, eight wins to me. I think it's pretty realistic. Like you could convince me over, but I'm gonna go under.
Well, if the gamblers are watching, we did not help anybody. I said over, you said under, and Alex said even. So we helped absolutely nobody. All right.
That's why they gotta have it at 9 for a reason. I mean, it's such a toss up. That one's such a toss up.
If you gave him 9.5, what would you say? Under?
I'd say.
Well, you said under at 9, so yeah, you would.
Yeah, I would say under still.
Yeah,
I'd go under. Yeah.
If it was 9.5, I'd probably say under 2. All right, we've made this guy wait long enough. You know him from the Lockdown Gambling Show. He is our expert in all things Chicago Bears. It is Uncle Sean making his return to the stream.
Hello,
I had to bring in the Bears expert because their over-under number is 7.5. They 3-14 last year, and they are already battling injuries. But you did bring in quite the fluctuation of talent. Let's see if I can get that list up really quickly. Such as DJ Moore. You brought in Deontay Foreman, who I like. Who's crackling? Is that me? I don't know what that is. Okay. Anyway. TJ Edwards. Am I losing my mind?
No, I'm hearing it.
Okay.
Dustin, you crinkling a water bottle over there? What's going on, buddy?
Hey, don't worry about it, man.
Well, some technical difficulties. But anyway, talking about the Bears again. So they brought in Robert Tonyan, Deontay Foreman, TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds. They did lose David Montgomery to the Lions, as we previously discussed. Bears expert, what do we think about this Chicago team? Just your general overall thought.
There's a lot of excitement because I think that they're going to put up a lot of points. But on the same token, we may give up a lot. The offense looks good. They look solid. They haven't scratched the surface. The offense looks great.
Do you have any concern that Justin Fields has negative air yards in the preseason? Because all he does is throw screens.
Yeah, no, I don't, because I think that's going to be a lot of his game. I mean, what are they going to do? I mean, they got to play. They can't cheat up on him. They got to play him honest because of his speed.
That's true. I'm a Fields guy. I'm glad we're here because I do think he takes a step forward this year. That's just my opinion. Dustin's been giving me shit on this for a very long time. But no, I think their offense I'm excited to watch. Actually, week 1, they play our beloved Green Bay Packers. That's not going to be an easy game. That's not going to be a I own you thing. I think it's going to be a tough game. And I'm terrified of Fields running. Packers always suck against that. But 7.5. Last year they won 3. I'll tell you, I'm leaning under, but that's only because already they're battling injuries, and maybe they're not even that significant. I don't know. But to basically win 5 more games in one turnaround, like you said, there's questions about the defense. I do like their offense, but that is more fun for me in Madden than it is in real life. So I'm leaning under, but if you told me that they win 7 games and that's still the under, I would, okay, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I'm torn. It's 7. 7 is a win for Chicago fans in general because it shows improvement. But this division's weird.
It's
there's too much chaos in this division. So I could see this team because it's a screwed up division. You just lost Rodgers. I think way too many people are banking on Detroit.
I'm with you there.
I think way too many people want to crown them already. And then you get rid of Dalvin Cook, and you're saying that they're going to be as good, if not better. But Madison is, they're an injury away from looking like run and shoot offense.
Yeah. When I'm looking at the Bears schedule here, so they got a tough open, man. They have
a brutal schedule.
Oof. I'm looking now. So they open with Green Bay, as we just discussed. Then they go to Tampa, which, that should be a win for them, but you never know. Tampa might be better than we think. At Kansas City, at home against Denver, at Washington, Minnesota, Vegas, at the Chargers, at the Saints. That's not a cakewalk.
Well, my one thing that I'm going to say there is I think your letdown this year is KC. I think Eric Bieniemy was way more important to that team than people want to give him credit for.
I actually kind of agree because Washington looks pretty good offensively this preseason.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
So, yeah. All right. Dustin, your thoughts?
Oh, I think you know what I'm going to say.
You're going to say under?
I think you know. I don't even think I have to say it, but I think you know. But I'm going to say it because, Sean's on here. We got to have a little fun, a little rivalry. We got to do it. It's going to be under. It's going to be a lock. This is what I was saving it for the whole time. You knew it was going to happen.
I knew you were saving it.
You knew it was going to happen. I had to. Just for fun and games. So I think Chicago is improved. To give them the benefit of the doubt, I think they did pick up some good pieces. And who knows? This may be the year Fields proved me wrong, but until he proves me wrong, I'm going to keep saying under.
I'm on your same page here, Dusty. I'm going under. I don't think that it's going to be an atrocious season, though. I could see them winning 6 or 7 games. Yeah. Their offensive line is significantly better. Fields is getting better. Defense isn't terrible, but I don't know. I see them winning about 7 games this year.
And that's doubling their win total. That'd be awesome for them.
Yeah, right. It's a big step forward for sure. I'm waiting on Darnell Mooney to turn into the monster that all of my Bears fan friends are telling me is. But, I'm hoping to see him take a step forward this year, too. That could be a lot of fun.
Plus, let's face it, and the guy in the box below me would agree. Football's better when the Bears are better.
I would say it's not inconceivable to see Justin Fields have 3,200 yards passing and 800 rushing.
Yeah.
Is that off the road?
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Him in the MVP conversation, and they still only get 7 wins. And you know why? It's because the defense, they're not going to have the push. Yes, they signed Edmonds. They signed a couple of linebackers. They did have a nice draft class, but at the end of the day, their defense. I'm afraid we're going to see a lot of scores. Bears, 24. Let's say Vikings 27. I think that's going to frustrate people a lot.
But honestly, if I'm a Bears fan in your shoes, if you're competitive, it's a hell of a lot better than 3-14.
No, and I think conceivably, I've been telling this scenario to your aunt. that the Bears are sitting in a unique spot, which is this. They may become the first team in NFL history to have back-to-back years with the number one pick. Because I think Carolina is as bad as Arizona. I think Carolina is as bad as Arizona.
Well, here, you
And
know what? As we've been sitting here, and I'm not going to change my answer because I already have it written down in pen. I'm regretting taking the Carolina over. I regret it as soon as it came out of my mouth. As I was sitting with it and I listened to all of y'all, I'm like, I think I made a mistake.
I mean, like I said, they have like their defense is okay, but like you said, if their number one is Adam Thielen, they got a problem. That's a big problem.
You know what? I'm going to look up what their depth chart says because I have a hard time believing. I feel like we're missing somebody. I feel like, well, they did draft Jonathan Mingo for whatever that's worth. But all right. So they're, okay. So their starters are Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, Jonathan Mingo. Backed up by Harris Marshall and Luther Chenault.
What a three. What a starting three.
Well, they do have Gary Jennings.
Oh.
Not Greg, but Gary. So that's fun.
Is that like his long-lost cousin or something?
I'm going to say no. They don't really look the same.
Oh, okay. You never know. Maybe it's a distant cousin.
Perhaps. But anyway. All right. Sean, any other thoughts on the Bears before we cut you free? And thank you again for joining us for Bears Talk.
I look forward to opening day. That is we get twice a year where I get to cuss at my wife and not get in trouble for it.
There you go. All the best to Aunt Tina wherever she's at watching, I'm guessing. But...
All right, and the best to you Packer fans, and I will be seeing you guys shortly, I'm sure. And hopefully
I'm sure.
Talking shit.
Well, hey.
Stop.
You got to save that for the gambling show. That's a couple weeks away yet.
Stop. 6 days. Bad caller.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for your Bears insight. We'll see you on the gambling show. You can see this fella on the gambling show. That will be debuting right before week 1 kicks off. So make sure you tune in for that, but with more details to come on that. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Sean. Take care.
All right. Be good, guys.
Thanks, Sean.
Oh, that's always fun. Thank you again to Sean for joining us, giving us his Bears insight, because he's the only Bear fan I know. And he's got decent sports opinions, hence why he's on the gambling show. All right, here's the deal. We know why you're here. We know our base audience. We know what you're waiting for. And we had to save it for last, otherwise you wouldn't have stuck around. But it's time. The Green Bay Mother Bleepin' Packers. Over under this year, 7.5 wins. We all know. We don't have to go over their offseason. They lost number 12. He's now in New York. Last year, with said 12, 8-9 was their record. So essentially, to hit this over, they have to match what they did last year. Is it possible? I start with you, Alec. What say you?
Well, here's how I'm going to start this off. In the
Also, you have-
preseason,
You have one more lock available. I feel like I know what's happening right now.
you are a mind reader. So I'm taking them over, and I'm going to lock it in. The Packers, the most exciting thing that I've seen in this the most exciting thing that I've seen in this preseason from the Packers is how explosive Romeo Doubs has looked. It's like we're getting the mini camp version of Dobbs, but in the preseason this year. And I'm hoping that that carries into the actual season, because last year Christian Watson looked great. If Dobbs can come in and be a formidable 2, I mean, that's a really good duo. We still have Aaron Jones. We still have A.J. Dillon. I think that Jordan Love is not going to be anywhere near where Rodgers was in his prime, but I do think that he might be an upgrade from Rodgers last year. For sure. I think that Rodgers looked stale last year. He played injured most of the year. I'm taking the over. The defense, I think that defense is going to finally play to their full potential and be that top 5 defense that we all know that they could be, with the talent that they have. I'm not saying that they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I'm not even saying that they're going to go deep in the playoffs, but I could see them possibly winning the division and then getting knocked out in the first round like they have so many times.
Yeah, and honestly, for them to hit that over, you mentioned the defense. I think for them to hit the over, their defense has to be well improved. I think, you know what, Dustin, I'm going to let you go first, and then I'm going to close it out because I might go on a rant. I haven't decided yet. You're
Dusty,
muted.
you're muted.
You're muted, good sir.
Oh, darn it. Shucks, man. Professionalism at its finest right here. I know what I'm doing. Don't even say it.
Content.
Content. Anyways, and after that, I don't even know what to say. This is a tough one. I am like absolutely torn just because of what I've said before in the same podcast.
What about Pat Mahomes 2.0, Dustin?
Dude, how dare
Don't forget.
I forgot about that.
Problematic.
You know what? I'm gonna have you guys read my lips here. Over.
He said it. He said it.
Attaboy.
We are going over. I think just because obviously I'm true to color. I'm green and gold at heart, and like I love Patrick Mahomes 2.0. Like I said, I'm true to my words. If you watch.
You know what? I love that your defense is just over. I stick to my word. That was your analysis on the Green Bay Packers. 2023 Green Bay Packers. I'm a man of my word. That's their slogan. All right. Here's where I'm at. I tried to look at this as objectively as I could because obviously look behind me or this side. Obviously my biases lie in Titletown. I'm not hiding it clearly. 8-9 last year. This year they have to play the NFC South and they have to play the AFC West. The NFC South is kind of a blessing. AFC West, not so much. So I really went through, and you could talk me into 8 wins, but I think that's probably right around their ceiling. I'm going to say over. Now, that comes with caveats. I mean, I'm going to stick with the over. But it depends. Okay, is the Jordan Love we're seeing in preseason, is that going to manifest in the regular season? Or is that going to hold for a full season? Alec brought up the defense. Their defensive line so far and their front seven look incredible. Like 2010 good. Like kind of crazy. I do have questions at safety because right now it's Darnell Savage and what? And even Darnell Savage was not great. Corner, they're pretty deep. They got young guys like Valentine and Ballantyne. Yes, those are 2 different people, both having good camps. Offensively, we haven't seen much of a running game except for their backups who may or may not even make the team. Romeo Doubs, as Alex said, looks awesome and looks like the safety blanket for Jordan Love. Haven't seen much of Christian Watson yet, which is weird. And Luke Musgrave, who we haven't talked about, looks like he's going to be a huge piece right away. So it is an over for me, a very slight over. I think they probably split with Minnesota. They always play terrible in Detroit, and this year I believe they have the Thanksgiving game. So I'm going to say they probably split optimistically with Detroit. And I think they probably split with Chicago too. I don't know that they win week 1, and I don't know if it necessarily is going to be a good or bad thing. But also Green Bay always plays terrible week 1, so it would not surprise me if the Bears come out and blow the doors off, and then all the Bears fans go, "Oh my God, we're back, baby! 1985, Ditka, Butkus!" Like, it wouldn't shock me at all. So I'm going to go over slightly, and that's the most optimistic and realistic take I can give. But I think it's 8-9 if they get a good bounce here or there. Not a lock by any means. But that is a clean sweep on the Packers.
It is a lock.
Well, you did have a lock. We are all over, and Alec locked that in with his last lock. So, to go through our locks here really quickly, before we have one more segment, and it's going to be really fast. But Alec is going to lock in the Eagles to go over 10.5, the 49ers to go over 11.5, and the Packers to go over 7.5. Dustin's locks were Atlanta over 7.5, San Francisco over 11.5, and the Bears to go under 7.5. My locks were the Rams to go under 7.5, the Cardinals to go under 5.5, and Tampa to go under 6.5. All right, we've done all the over-unders. we're going to do fantasy football next week, which means we probably could save it for another week, but we're not going to because we're already doing predictions right now. Super Bowl predictions. Dustin, we're going to start with you. Super Bowl matchup prediction. You can give the winner if you want. Actually, you probably should. That's how most people do it. So Super Bowl matchup, and who is the winner of the Super Bowl this year?
I'm gonna go a rematch from a couple years ago. I'm gonna go 49ers and Chiefs again. And I'm gonna say the 49ers win this time.
All right. 49ers, KC. 49ers victorious. I don't hate that. It depends on Purdy for me, but I don't hate that. Alec, your Super Bowl prediction for this year.
I'm gonna go with, man, I wanted to say San Francisco, but that's boring. So, coming out of the NFC, I think that Josh Allen moves forward here. I think that Josh Allen gets his first Super Bowl appearance. And I think that he gets that first Super Bowl appearance against Lamar Jackson's Ravens. Yeah, I think that they're going to take a jump forward on this one. And what's up?
Can we just stop you real quick? They're in the same conference.
Oh,
And he just dropped out. He's gone. So his AFC Championship game is Baltimore Buffalo. And he's just gone.
Nope, you heard him here first. First Super Bowl with 2 NFC teams.
I mean, so do you think he's coming back?
I don't know.
All right. Well, I guess we'll wait and see. We'll give him a couple minutes. But while we're waiting on him to figure out an NFC opponent, I am going to claim I kind of agree with his Baltimore take. So representing the AFC, I have Baltimore. I like their defense. Their defense is always solid. I like the fact that their offense in preseason, Zay Flowers looks awesome in his rookie year. I think he's going to make a huge impact. Odell Beckham, he hasn't played in a while, so with an ACL, his second one, it's probably a 2-year. Well, this would be the 2 years, so I think he might not be the guy he was, but I think he does give them a boost. Lamar's paid and happy. If Dobbins can stay healthy, I think that's huge for them. So I like Baltimore just to be a little contrarian, but also I'm a lot higher on Baltimore than a lot of people. Representing the NFC, I can't believe you two didn't even acknowledge them at all. Philadelphia Eagles, they were there last year. You look up and down the NFC, I think far and away they have the most talented roster. San Francisco, yes, but I have questions about the quarterback. I don't have any questions about Philly, really. And they might add Jonathan Taylor in like 3 days. So I like Philly, Baltimore. I think Philly gets it. I just think they are, if not the best team in football, one of the top 3. And they now have the experience because they were just there last year. So I got Philly, Baltimore. Philly takes the cake there. I don't know if Alec is coming back. So if anything, we will get his Super Bowl prediction at another time. Because he just dropped out. I know he said his internet was bad, but we'll see. All right, I've stalled long enough. I guess we'll have to end the episode. We are over an hour as it is. So thank you for watching. Again, if you can, subscribe, rate, review, Apple, Spotify, all the reviews. Bump us up. You don't even have to give us 5 stars. You can give us 1 star if you want. I prefer you didn't, but you can if you want. All the reviews, doesn't matter what they are, they do end up helping us in the long run. So please rate, subscribe, review. And follow us on socials, Facebook, YouTube, the Gram, X, I guess. Alec typically runs it's Twitter. Alec runs our Twitter account or X account. So that's always a fun watch there. So yeah, socials, podcast, subscribe. We'll get that feed updated. I think we were waiting to post the AFC and NFC together. So that'll all be in your feed within the next 48 hours, hopefully, if everything goes smoothly. And with that said, again, thank you for watching. Next week, our second annual fantasy football bonanza, which is really just Dustin and I doing a fantasy mock draft and explaining what we're doing. But regardless, and maybe Alec if he's available. But regardless, that's next week to look forward to while you're getting ready for your drafts. We will try and help you with that. That is it. I'm done talking. It's over an hour. Good night. Thank you for watching. We will see you next week for the second annual Fantasy Football Bonanza.